Discretion is advised.
If you feeling like a pimp, niggas call pimp.
9057.
Awesome sauce! Hello, everybody. I'm your mentally undeveloped party host. You know, the man who started an escort service for all the right reasons, and sitting up top shop at the top of Four Seasons. I'm the comic pimp Blind Adam Wonders. This is Awesome Sauce Radio. I thank you all for inviting me into your hearts and into your homes. Remember, this is America where the streets are paved with gold. Please go chase your dreams. You just might catch them. We don't need to have a vision. We're going to kick ass, take names, pimp whores, gain fame. Toodaloo! And we're going to testify. Before we get into the heart of the matter, I'd like to give thanks to some of my sponsors and a couple shout-outs. First, I want to shout out Nemesis, David Howard. Please go check out and support Phoenix Throne #1. Fund my comic. Go there and fund that. He's got some new tiers coming up, which we will talk about in a couple minutes. But thank you, Dave, for being the man in the chair. Also, check out ComicCrusaders.com, www.ComicCrusaders.com. The greatest comic book news source on God's green earth. They have reviews and market analysis, TV reviews of movies, shows. I think I'm going to bring my article there eventually. But ComicCrusaders.com. Much love to Al Mega. Al Mega, enjoy your time off. See you in August, sir. I also would like to give a big thank you to Garden State Comic Fest. Garden State Comic Fest comes to you this weekend, June 22nd and 23rd in Morristown, New Jersey. 10 a.m. to something, and 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Sunday. They have an amazing guest list. They got voice cast members from G.I. Joe, Billy West, Ren, Stimpy, Howard Stern Show alumni. He's awesome. Walter Louise Simonson. They also have an exclusive DUP variant for the 10-year anniversary. GardenStateComicFest.com. Tell them why I'm sent you. Yubbit. I need to learn to stop stuttering when I do this shit. Because I'm a dumbass. Yeah. Also, I want to give a huge shout out to Exotica Expo. The sexiest, the kinkiest, the greatest convention in the universe returns June 28th, 29th, and 30th in Miami at the Air Force Convention Center. And then also in October 25th, 26th, and 27th, they return to the New Jersey Expo Center in Edison, New Jersey. I'll be at that one. But there'll be porn stars, meet and greets, ladies getting free on Fridays, both for Miami and New Jersey. BJs, HJs, any kink that your male imagination can imagine, you can try it up there. Meet your favorite adult film stars, including certain friends of the show, like Sherry Moore and Nora Nova, Blake Blossom. They'll all be there. ExoticaExpo.com. Tell them by now I sent you. Can't wait to be at that convention. Yeah. Also, want to give a huge shout out to the Comic Corner. The Comic Corner is a online retailer of exclusive variants. We'll show this to our guest in a minute, but they have a really, really sweet Natalie Sanders Witchblade #1, which dropped yesterday. They have a secret draft they did earlier today, which I did not check out yet, but the ComicCornerStore.com. I'm going to try to bring them on board as a sponsor. But check them out because I've been buying a couple of their variants that I really, really like. Now, to end the sponsorship segment here, we're gonna show the commercial of the greatest strip club in all of New York City, possibly the galaxy, when Darth Vader needs a lap dance, this is where Darth Vader goes. You know, the one, the only, the legendary. Please play the Flash Dances commercial.
Hello, darling. Welcome to your new favorite club. You are a hard worker, so you deserve a good place to replenish yourself. Our bartenders will take great care of you, while our sexy ladies help spice up your night. Bring your friends or make new ones here. Flash dancers, come join the party.
Yeah, Flash Dancers, downtown New York City. Tell them Blind Adam sent you, man. I'll be there. I'm usually there on Wednesdays after I pick up my books from Midtown from time to time. But now we're going to bring out my special guest for tonight. He is the co-host of Drunken Chat Son. He's not the best. He's not the awesomest. He's the greatest. Sir Chris, what's up, sir?
What's up, baby? How you doing?
I
Hello
can't.
to our audience.
Yep. I can't complain. I made it well at the doctor's yesterday, so I really am feeling blessed at the moment.
That's good news. Anytime you're feeling better, and always great news, my boy. Happy to
Yeah,
hear that.
yeah. Like I said, I'm cleared at my next 3 month checkup for the white blood cell count in December. I can't
That's good
complain.
news.
How's your week been going, man?
Oh, my week's been going good, man. I actually had a doctor's appointment myself today, so I was in the same boat you are. So looks like all my blood work came back okay for the most part. And life's good, man. We're just paying attention to what's going on in cinema right now. Getting hyped for these movies coming up, and trying to tie some good books to it, right? So
Yeah, I hear that.
we'll touch on it too at the towards the end. I want to touch on a book, so we'll get a chance to do it.
All right, cool. Did you see speaking of shows and movies? Did you see the trailer for the Penguin?
I did. It looks amazing. I cannot wait until we get that. I'm waiting to see what type of tidbits and Easter eggs that we get, references towards other characters as well. I like Penguin. I love Colin Farrell. He was doing his thing in the first Batman film. So I'm just really eager to see the next, chapter in this universe. So
That's fantastic.
Uh, so basically, if you want some back issues to hunt for, look for back issues of both Long Halloween and Dark Victory.
Dark Victory's great. Love Dark Victory. So
It's
good
a great
stuff.
series. It looks like they're using a lot of Dark Victory for source material because they cast it to the chick in there is Cohen's daughter. So it looks like they're going to be using a lot of Dark Victory as source material at some point.
Man, I can't tell you how much crap I got
yeah,
from my friends for liking that movie though, the Batman. I like that movie minus a couple things. So, and I got in all sorts of garbage from people like, how can you call yourself a comic fan and like that movie? It's like, man, the heart wants what it wants. So
Patterson
that's
did
one
a
thing
great
that
job, I thought.
I don't understand. Nowadays, people that try to slander films, right? Because it's not close to the comic continuity, right? But, if we think about it, let's go back over time a little bit now, right? And think about all the comic books that we got. Think about all the movies that we got, right? Now, when another writer or another artist picked up that title or that character, was it ever the same as the last? Usually no, right? We get some type of different turns or alternate type, settings or villains or, the artwork done in it. So I feel like anytime we get movies where we have a comic book character, such as, of course, one of the biggest, Batman, right? Just enjoy it. People need to really start enjoying these things for what it's worth. Stop ridiculing it. Stop criticizing it so much, so heavy, to the point where, what are you going to do if they say, okay, well, we're tired of getting backlash for trying new things. How about we don't do anything at all anymore, right? But, that's kind of what I felt like the DCU problem was. So I felt like they had some good films in it, but because of the fans, right? We're just so nitpicky and always want to judge this, want to judge that, instead of just enjoying this shit for what it's worth.
Well said. Well said.
Well, I think that I couldn't let that go by without throwing this out there. I agree with you 100%. And like, if I don't like it, then it's like, okay, that's not for me. I'll move on. But there is a dedicated group out there who follows a certain individual, and I'm not going to name the name, but they're committed to destroying the DCEU without this guy, and I'm just going to leave it at that. So and man,
and just because just because the Nemesis took the high road, but I think that this group of fans deserves a pimp slap across the face. Rule number 1 says you act like a bitch, you must get smacked like a bitch. And the Snyder stands, please just shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
you
bro,
that's
where I'm at with it. I'm right there with you, because I feel like, to be able to get some of these films with these high class actors, right? First of all, it's, to me, only a 1 in a million shot, right? That we're going to continue to get things like this. But if we continue to criticize it the way people have been, and letting other things that have nothing to do with comics dictate what we're getting, how we're getting it, who's doing it, what actor, actress is in it. And I'm going to give you a perfect example of that right now. The Acolyte. Now, I know a lot of people that are hardcore Star Wars fans. I can understand some of the gripes in the show, right? But I feel like race and sex has completely ruined something that people could have at least watched and got some sort of Star Wars lore out of it. You can still get some type of entertainment from it. And it's more of a mystery, ordeal that we've never really had in Star Wars, except guessing who the fuck Luke Skywalker's father was going to be, right? So I feel like this was a new take. I am personally tired of the female lead roles. I am, but I'm not going to butcher it to the point where I don't at least give it a shot. I can't just sit there and look at everybody criticizing it and knowingly know what I know and see how people are reacting to certain things. We had the same problem when Jonathan Majors was casted as Kang, right? So we already had those type of issues prior to this, and now it just kind of went overboard. So that show is really not that bad. I mean, if you're a hardcore, diehard Star Wars fan, you'll have your gripes with it, right? But if you're just a casual watcher, dude, it's nothing wrong with that show. It's just people, shitheads these days.
I still haven't watched a single episode yet. It's not because of criticism or because I don't want to watch it. It's just that's one of those shows that I'm just gonna wait till it's all done, watch it all in one shot, and that's more because not enough time in the day sometimes.
well,
And we now live in an era where too much shit comes out at once.
Yeah,
I will say I'm one of those hardcore Star Wars fans. I mean, I saw the original when I was 7, but at the same time, it's like, it seems apparent to me that Star Wars is going a certain direction, and I haven't enjoyed some of the recent stuff, but it's like, that's on me. I'm not going to ruin it for somebody else. I'm like, if I don't want to watch it, then I just want to watch it, and one of these days I may sit down and give it a chance, and that's cool. But meanwhile, I've got all sorts of other stuff to do. Like, I'm writing comics and reading books. I don't have time for hate, so I'm like, if you don't like it and other people do, then more power to them, and whatever happens, happens. So,
and And that's a great point of view to have, because we're in a day and age now where um race, I feel like, is playing too big of a card nowadays. Hey, we're one big ass melting pot at this point. You may have family members of you could not like, oh well, I don't like black people, okay? But look how far we've come so far, right? And it's not like anybody has gone anywhere, okay? All we've been doing is taking our idealistic views, right? And using that to paint the picture of what entertainment should be. And I'm just going to be 100% honest. It feels like most people don't like the Acolyte show because the whole cast isn't white. Let's just be honest. In the first 3 Star Wars films, we barely had any people of color, of ethnicity. But we're in a new day and age now where your neighbor could be black, Indian, Japanese. It doesn't matter, right? Because we're all here together. We're all doing this shit together. We're all the same fucking slave as you are, right? You might have a little
Yeah.
bit more money than me, might have less money than me, right? But at the end of the day, I mean, it's about time we get rid of this attitude. It needs to go, because if we were going to play that game, how would the world react if they say, you know what, we're all going to stop watching any movie that's whitewashed. So if the whole cast is white, the rest of the world isn't going to watch it, right?
Yeah.
Then what? Then everything is going to come to a standstill, and then now we're going to really have to recalibrate how we do things, right? But the way the
Yeah,
world's set up right now, it's time to change.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, I just don't want it.
Just
I don't want
right.
to deal with it at all. I just want good stories and good shows with whoever's the best actor. And I know for a fact, and here's another Marvel property that I like, Captain Winter Soldier, a Captain America Winter Soldier, Falcon is Captain. I know for a fact there's people out there that don't like the fact that Anthony Mackie is taking over as Captain America. And I'm like, get the hell out of here with that. It makes sense from a story perspective, and he's great as Falcon, so it is what it is. I'm fine with it.
Even in the comics, it made sense at that point.
Yeah.
When they gave him, when he was past the buck to be Cap in the comics, when Steve became an old man again for one of the worst Captain America runs of all time. Thank you, Nick Spencer.
So,
it made sense, and I like Anthony Mackie a lot in the role.
I mean, and even from a story perspective, seriously, do you think that America would want an ex-Soviet spy assassin as Captain America and Bucky? So that's not going to fly. So,
and that's so true, dude. And that was another great show. So, I just feel like this. We're at a day and age where this whole color thing, all right, needs to go away. This bullshit about what color he is, what color she is. Dude, when we go to the fucking cons, we're all in there together. You know what I mean? So, most of the time, right, nowadays, you may have more in common with somebody of the opposite race or different race than you would have thought you would have originally, right? But you would have never known that if you don't give it a chance. That's the same thing I feel like for cinema. I feel like, like I said, the only reason why they don't like Acolyte is because it's not an all-white cast, as usually Star Wars things are. I mean, if you look at the 9 Star Wars films, right? We only got two black dudes, a couple of Hispanics in the entire, thing. So I feel like right now, the way the world looks, it's no longer all white. It's no longer all Hispanic. It's no longer all black. Every area in the world is predominantly mixed.
And we also have 2 homosexual androids.
I mean, dude, if we can, fight for all these LGBT and these groups and all that type of shit, right?
Actually, yeah.
Then what's the problem? Because I mean, hell, you can take me for an example. I got 2 kids. On this side, my baby mama's black and Indian. On this side, my baby mama's Irish and Italian. Okay, so my son is half white. My daughter is black and Indian. So it's like I even have, people throughout my family of different lineages. So I'm a mutt, right? But when you look at me averagely, you'll be like, oh, that's a black dude, right? You wouldn't know that I got Japanese in my family. You wouldn't know that we're part Creole. You wouldn't know these things, right? But why the fuck does that matter? If I can talk to you and have a decent conversation, then what the fuck is wrong with other races taking star roles? I mean, hey, we got the Hispanic star role when we got the Mandalorian and Pedro Pascal playing the Mandalorian, which was great, right? We got a little bit of black with Ahsoka Tano playing Ahsoka Tano, right? So I feel like it's just time to let that shit go, really. If you're against ignorance and tacky shit, that's one thing. But don't take that energy and try to play a race game with it because you don't like a certain group of people. That doesn't sum up their whole race, right? If I
You got to
if
be
I see
fair. You
exactly,
got to be
so
fair about it. So,
if
hey,
I
if
see somebody, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I don't want to hijack this from Adam, but the thing for me is that, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say. My big problem is when they do race swapping on characters where the race is part of the character. For instance, I could never see T'Challa, Black Panther, is anything but black. He's got to be black. You know, he's from Africa. He's from Wakanda. He's black. Jaime Reyes, Blue Beetle. Dude's got to be Hispanic. You know, I'm Hispanic, and I identify with Jaime Reyes. You know, call it what you will, but I identify with the guy. You know, Steve Rogers. You know, there's nothing that says he has to be white, but he's been traditionally white the whole time, so I see him as a white dude. You know, that's the thing that gets me. Is like, don't do stuff like that. You know, but then I'm a hypocrite
You
because
know
I
what?
remember
Can I give a
way back.
perfect example of the one time when race swapping worked beautifully? And unfortunately, it's in the one of the top 10 worst Marvel movies of all time.
What's
Michael
that?
Clark Duncan playing Wilson Fisk.
He was good. He was good,
Mhm.
but he fit all the, you know. But
But
even
he
though he'd
played the
always been
role
white
well.
before, but
Unfortunately, he had a shitty movie with a shitty script because he had a director who couldn't direct himself out of a fucking hefty bag.
well, there's
That's
another one
besides the point.
there's another one that's even better example. Nick Fury as Samuel Jackson. You
Yeah,
know, Nick Fury was
actually,
always white.
but it helps when you know Mark Miller in the Ultimates
Yeah, that came
drew
before.
him as the character uh, specifically for that purpose.
Yeah,
He
that's
drew him as
that was meant for that. So
yeah,
that's one character that it made sense when they did Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury because it came from the whole Ultimates run and all that, right?
yeah,
So, but this is more or less my point. That's an old way of thinking, in my personal opinion. I cannot categorize everybody that's Hispanic as one way. I can't
true.
categorize everybody that's white one way, and I cannot categorize everybody that's black one way. That way of thinking is not only outdated, but it's preventing us from pushing this country to the next level where it needs to go. Because right now, the way I feel like we're getting left behind. The rest of the world has already incorporated this into their countries, right? So I feel like
Yeah,
at this moment, I feel like that line of thinking is leaving us behind. And I'm tired of getting left behind, you know?
I see what you're saying, and that's interesting. It's just, you know, and maybe it's something I got to adjust to, but I just, like I said, I could never see Black Panther as another race or Black Lightning or, you know, and I hate those names, by the way. They, you know, every black superhero has to have black in front of it. You know, it's ridiculous.
Well, that's how.
But
Unfortunately, you notice how that changed like after a certain time period in history with comics, though.
yeah, but
Mhm.
like Blade is another one. It's like, but I'll be honest though, I'm an old fart. I can't see anybody with Wesley Snipes as Blade anyway. So you know, I'm like,
Well, yeah, but what I mean is I'm not really saying it like on a character level of just race swapping characters, right? I'm
yeah,
talking about in a general aspect view of entertainment, right? Because if
sure,
we were still going back to the olden days, right? At first they didn't even want blacks or Hispanics to play any type of star roles at all right, and that even goes back to the TV shows. I mean, even when blacks started getting TV shows, right, they still limited Hispanics, they limited Japanese, they limited Chinese, they were limiting people on race alone, right? I just
Hey,
feel like,
Yeah.
hey, it's 2024. If you don't like anybody because of their color, that's fucking ridiculous at this point because we're all like literally one big melting pot. And if you trace your genealogy, I guarantee you, you'll probably have somebody tied into your bloodline that you weren't expecting to begin with, right? So,
Agree with that.
um, it,
So
I just feel like in an entertainment standing point, I feel like this bashing of Acolyte, oh shit, it's a black female antagonist and she's starring the show, so we're not gonna watch it. We're protesting that to show them we don't want that, right? It's bullshit. Because I mean,
well,
I have a black wife, right? I have black kids. I have a black daughter, right? And what do you think my daughter feels like when she gets a chance to watch a show like Acolyte, where it's portraying somebody like her as a star of a show, right? But then you have all these other people that are holding on to the wrong things, and they trash it. Now my little girl, maybe her hero was Acolyte, right? Well, she'll never get
mhm.
the time and day now, So now she's searching for the next thing to be able to identify with, like you said earlier, when it came to Blue Beetle. So I just feel
Yeah.
like we're at the day and age where everybody should get their little chance, dude. Even if something is not for you, it doesn't mean go out and bash it just because
Well,
you're
yeah,
against
I
one
absolutely.
thing or
actually,
one that,
the one thing I thought that got a bad rap as far as current Marvel projects was actually the Marvels. And
Mhm.
it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't the greatest movie in the world, but
No,
it had
not by a long
three
shot.
women and strong leads. The actress that plays Kamala Khan is fucking amazing.
Oh,
As an
but
Mhm.
actress.
there's just so much stuff like that, man. It's like I think people just need to. It's not stay in your lane. It's like people like let other people coexist. It's like the Twilight movies. That shit. I love vampire stuff, but the Twilight movies, that ain't it for me. I don't want to watch any of that. I'm not down with that.
No,
But
I
I'm
hear
not.
you.
I'm not going to take that away from people who want to watch that. Same thing with whatever. So it's like, and then as far as the act like, if people are complaining about it because the cast is female and black, then I think there are legitimate reasons to not like the show if you don't like the show. But then you don't have to be an a-hole about it. But if you're complaining about it because of race and gender, then you're a sexist or a racist. And
In that
I'll
place,
say it
just
right
like
out.
shut the
So
fuck up, get out of the, get
yeah,
out of the
Well,
fandom, and find something else to enjoy.
yeah.
but I mean, you just hit it right on the head because I mean, being a black man in this country, I mean, reading comments of the shit people say, right? That was the biggest issue. Is oh wow, one, it's a girl. I don't want to fucking watch that. Then what made it even worse, oh, it's a black girl. Oh, I'm really not gonna watch this shit. They did the same thing with Secret Invasion. Now, don't get me wrong, I have complaints about Secret Invasion myself, but I feel like that wasn't really butchered until the last episode. That fight scene, I feel
Yeah.
like that's what really butchered it for me. I felt like in placing seeds going forward, right? I think it did a good job at that. But I think that because of the reception that show got, right, they're not really going to elaborate on anything that they planted, in my opinion, in that, unless it
Yeah.
surrounds, like a super soldier serum or the Avengers blood type, shit like that. I think that has a chance of popping back up. But
See,
everything else in the show is pretty much gone. So
see, I'll have nerd talks with people all day. Like if you want to talk about which Superman's better, or you don't like this because of that, and it's like on a nerd level where we're disagreeing on who shot first, Han or Greedo, and you insist that Greedo shot first and you're wrong. I'll listen to what you have to say. You're wrong, but I'll listen. But if you're going to start on in with the sexist and the racist stuff, then 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 you have to be brave enough to call that shit out. Because it's like just because they may not like the show, like you may not like the
yeah,
show,
and
doesn't mean you're walking the same road. So
You know,
definitely.
well, a lot of sexist and racist things have been basically covered up with the term woke. Okay, so back in the 90s and 80s, as you and me both know, we all three of us know, woke was actually a term to be used as in a conscience level, right? Well, now woke is used to bash anybody of a different race
Amazon
or
style.
sexist. That's what that's basically been used for, from what I can see. So people aren't just saying it flat out. People have to say, "Oh, that's some
It's
woke shit.
woke.
That's
This
woke.
is woke.
That's so woke." And
Everything is
I
woke
just think that's
lately.
like a cowardly lion angle. That's just how I personally feel. Like, hey, if you got a problem with it because it's fucking black, say it, man. Let me hear it, dude. But if you are too much of a coward to say how you really fucking feel, then just shut the fuck up and keep your opinion to yourself. All right, because I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't let that woke shit go around me, dude. I'll ask you, what the fuck do you mean by it? Define that shit for me. What are you saying? You know what I mean? Because yeah, I live in Las Vegas, right? So I'm in a Republican state, and my comic shops are probably 90% white. And so when you go into a shop and you're just having casual talk, I've heard that woke tone multiple times, okay? But I ask exactly, describe that shit to me. What are you saying? Because if you're just saying it because you want to be racist or sexist, you're a pussy. Just say what you want to say. You know what I mean? But enough of that.
Yeah.
Let's get on to some
Yeah,
more
actually, why don't we
subjects.
do
Yeah.
this? Because this may be the most serious Awesome Sauce Radio has gotten in quite some time, and I actually think that's amazing. Instead of whip the titties out and Project Pegasus and all the other crazy stuff we talk about on this show, why don't we play the
We're
X-Men
always with
versus
the titties.
Avengers trailer, and then we'll go into the next topic.
All right. Well, I'm not whipping my titties out. I'm just letting you know that
No,
right now.
you're not allowed. Yeah, I think that's in your
No.
contract.
Yeah,
No,
But I want to show you an amazing parody
that just
trailer.
killed my feelings and confidence.
No one wants to see that shit, Adam. I'm
Exactly.
just saying. All right. All right. Let's throw this thing up here. Here we go.
Yep.
The Onslaught event costs us most of our heavy hitters.
I'm going back to Russia.
We need you. Now more than ever, the X-Men need you.
There are no more X-Men.
End of an era. I can't believe it's over.
X-Men will go on, Kitty.
How do you know that?
I know that because Charles Xavier would have wanted it.
I understand what you've lost. We understand what Hawkeye meant to you.
It's time, Fury. We all do.
Call it what you want, but the Avengers matter.
You had no right to talk to you like that.
I'm a big girl, Steve. I can stand up for myself. Women do that now.
I can't believe there is a superhero bar.
Yeah, I decided to get one back in the days when I hung up my cape.
You mean that ridiculous polyester yellow suit you were wearing this morning used to have a cape?
What the doctor is explaining is that none of our lost friends are dead.
I believe they've shifted, transported to a different plane of existence.
We really must find a new psychic as soon as possible.
I'm looking for Daredevil. If you all cooperate, nobody will get hurt.
Charles believed mutant and human could coexist. I plan to keep that dream alive.
Interesting negotiation technique.
Magneto's going to be taking Xavier's spot, and the Avengers are going to go to war with the X-Men.
You have about 3 seconds to alter the course of your life.
Kill him.
That tickles.
Kicking ass makes me incredibly horny.
Hey, dude, that's the most cameos we got in a while, right?
Yeah.
I'll be honest, man, that thing looked awesome, man.
That's X-Men versus the Avengers XXX, which came out a few years ago by my friend, my mentor, legendary adult film director and producer Axel Brock.
Yeah, hey, dude, hey, I like that type of shit. I might have to watch that one with my lady.
Yeah, actually, the cool thing about them, they do have versions of it where you can watch them without the sex scenes in them. And some of them.
Oh, dude, that's no fun, dude. Why would I want it without the sex scenes, bro? I mean,
that's true.
I'm trying to get ads by clapping buns.
That's true. But I'm letting the 2% of my audience who likes to send me hate mail.
Fuck those guys.
Exactly, but I'm letting them know that that the option's out there if you want to watch it without the sex scenes in it, which I don't understand why people do that.
Yeah, that's a little strange, you know.
I can't confirm or deny anything, but back in the day when my missus and I were a lot younger, we may or may not have watched it. One of the first parodies that I had ever seen. It was a parody of the show The Rocketeer called The Cocketeer. So
That's an amazing parody.
Yeah, dude, I fucking love it, man.
Yeah, that actually, a couple of my friends are actually are in that movie too. Shout out to Phoenix Murray.
Go check it out. So,
Hey,
it's always just cracked me up too. So,
yeah. Chris, are you getting pumped for Deadpool, bro? Deadpool and Wolverine?
Oh, dude, you know I am, man. That's my go-to, dude. You
Yeah,
know?
actually, I don't know
I
why
just hope
why
that
they're marketing, because their marketing bliss is starting to piss me off because it's gonna make me gain weight. Damn DiGiorno's. Show
Yeah,
this.
dude.
Why do they have to do this to me?
Yeah, I
DiGiorno's
think they got
Deadpool
another deal with
pizzas.
another small pizza vendor too, where they got like Deadpool and Wolverine themed pizzas. So I guess that's going around right now. And as soon as I'm able to indulge, I guess I'll check it out too. I'm more
Yeah.
interested in the baby Deadpool popcorn bucket that they just kind of snuck out there.
Did they drop it yet? Did they drop an image? I couldn't find images of it
No,
anywhere
I
yet.
think I don't know where it's gonna be, but I know that they said that it's supposed to be baby Deadpool with I guess a cup holder on either side of him. So I'll definitely be hunting for that. And remember, we touched on those claw machines, right? Where they got the half Wolverine, half Deadpool little heart
Yeah, did you see what
necklaces.
they're going for on
So I'm
eBay?
gonna start hunting for those machines yet. No, I
Yeah,
didn't.
so
Are they up there?
And I know on eBay they're going for like upwards of about $200.
yeah.
Wow.
I can't wait to see that
Friendship
movie,
necklace
man.
and the coin.
Yeah,
I'll tell you,
I'm just happy that my little theory is finally coming true. So,
Which theory?
I was telling people for a while that, with the whole Fox universe, right, and 20th century and all that shit, right. So all the X-Men films that we've gotten over the last 20 years, right? Secret Wars is supposed to be like their swan song, like their going away type demonstration, right? So I'm just finally happy that some of that shit is starting to pay off, where we're getting all these past X-Men villains, if you will. When we got that first scene of Cassandra Nova coming out of the Ant-Man head and he had everybody to the side of them. When I saw that, I was just, fuck yeah, let's go,
Well, the thing I love about that trailer, though, is that they're doing old school old man Logan, man. So to the point where I'm wondering if this version of the Wolverine is the one that was tricked and I forget what they did to his brain, but made him think that all of the heroes were villains and he was killing them all at the beginning of Old Man Logan. And so that's why they have the helmet there and everything. I think that's what they're doing, man. I'm like, if you're doing an Old Man Logan and combining that with this Deadpool story and multiverse stuff, I'm like, it's gonna be even better than I thought it was gonna be, and I'm already down for it. So it looks cool.
I was thinking that when I saw the giant man corpse. It had that old man Logan vibe to it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just geeked. Check it out. Look at some of the shit we're getting. Some of the best shit out of these past X-Men franchises, right? So one of the biggest things that I'm geeked about is I'm Juggernaut, bitch. I can't fucking wait to see that guy on screen because that was one of the best parts of the X-Men trilogies.
Actually, I don't know if that's going to be Vinnie Jones or not. I've heard rumors that he signed his likeness to it, so he didn't have to be in the suit.
Huh.
He's
I heard
been on record saying how much he hated being. He loved playing the character. He hated being in the suit.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes because so far they released some stills of it. So, I'm sorry, Nemesis. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying my whole family's excited to see it, which we haven't gone to the movies as a family to see something like that for a while. Just because funds and COVID and everything else. So, man, if my family's any judge, this should be a hit for Disney because we're like, yes, we're going to see it, and we're going to see it in the theater. Like my wife told me that, and my wife is usually like, we'll wait, we can watch it at home, So now I think she's got a thing for Ryan Reynolds too, but yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I'm incredibly excited just because of the simple fact that hey, it's fucking Deadpool, right?
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
not only do you give us fucking Deadpool, but you fucking throw Hugh Jackman Wolverine in it. Oh, it's a must fucking see in theaters for us, And just the fact that they showed us all these past villains that we're getting right has me fucking stoked, bro. I can't wait.
Yeah.
And we're getting more of a comic accurate type demonstration, right? So I'm really curious to see what other characters we could possibly be getting comic
I
accurate.
just want to see Jennifer Garner's Electra get killed in the first 5 minutes of the movie. That would make me very happy.
I would love to see
cameo in it, and that's just like that was, that's in my top 5 worst comic book movies of all time. Is Jennifer Garner's Electra?
Yeah. How cool would it to see Ben Affleck back as Daredevil, and then to see the old Hulk back with like what's his name?
You talking about Edward Norton or Eric?
Yeah, Banner? Both. So 2 Hulks on there.
Why don't we just go for the trifecta? And they haven't given Ferrigno a cameo in quite some time either.
Yeah, hell, why not? You know what else I'd love to see? And you can send me all the hate mail you want. I want to see Dolph Lundgren show up as the Punisher. So
I would jump down. They would kick if they did that. They would kick me out of the theater for jumping up and down with joy.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Lou Ferrigno, he came to our shop not too long ago, and I got a chance to speak to him about all that shit, right? So he's definitely open to making a Hulk appearance. So we know that for a fact. I mean, that came out of his own mouth. So, you just never know right now, because what they're trying to do, I mean, to get 60 plus heroes for Avengers 5. And then you say you're going to overkill it in Secret Wars, which is now a 2-parter. Hey, the sky's the limit right now, dude. I mean, even Wesley Snipes is sitting over there in the cut watching Marvel, waiting for his call, because I think they're definitely going to at least give us a cameo scene of Blade. I had a friend of mine that thought they were going to do Wesley Snipes Dracula, but I feel like, no, dude, I don't want to see that shit. I'd rather see the current Dracula, right? The one we just got the Marvel Legend of recently announced this week. So I'd rather see that version of Dracula versus a Wesley Snipes Dracula.
Yeah. Hey, did you hear the rumor?
Wesley Snipes is Blade.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been hearing rumors that maybe Sticky Fingers as Blade may make a cameo.
Hey, it's a possibility because they have a
Blade TV series, which is underrated.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Remember, in the Deadpool trailer, when the scene we were just talking about, when Cassandra Nova comes out of the head, and then you have all the villains to the side, right? Well, apparently, to the far, far right, you have a cameo of somebody that looks like it is that Blade from the Spike TV show. So, yeah, hey, you never know, dude. It seems like, because the reason why a lot of people are thinking it is because he has a trench coat on, right? And then you can see clearly he has weapons on his vest. So people are thinking that is possibly that version of Blade. So it's a strong possibility, dude. I wouldn't say anything's not, go. So,
although I will say that I miss the characters from the Netflix Marvel shows. Some of them. I mean, I know that the Daredevil guy is back, but I would love to see Jennifer Jones. I'd love to see. I mean, I know people didn't like it, but I would love to see the martial arts guy. Why am I blanking?
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist.
Iron Fist. Yeah, and I want to see Luke Cage. I thought the dude that played Luke Cage killed it. I would love to see him involved more.
Dude, is definitely actually. Give me a second to think how much I'm legally allowed to say, because I'm on
and then
NDA when it comes to Netflix stuff.
And then Misty Knight, I'd love to see her involved.
They're actually coming back at some point for Daredevil Born Again. That whole
is the
universe is
character?
coming back.
Who was the character that Rosario Dawson played?
Yeah, she actually played.
That was like Luke Cage's
Templeton.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
I even like because they didn't. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think you're in for it because they're definitely coming back, and they just didn't announce it yet. But they already kind of leaked out the fact that Jessica Jones was coming back, but she was gonna take up her Power Girl, the white costume with the blue trim at the top with the purple or pink hair. So they did say that when she did return, that we would get more of a comic accurate version. So. I'm pretty sure we're in for it. They're definitely going to bring Luke Cage back. I know they're going to bring Danny Rand back because of the simple fact that they also wanted the girl. I couldn't remember her name, but from the Defenders, she was in the Iron Fist
I know
series.
who you're talking about. Yeah.
But she's also supposed to be playing in Iron Fist, and then we're also supposed to time travel or some funky way, but we're going to see female Iron Fist as well. I guess maybe the first Iron Fist, if I'm not mistaken. But I know they just announced it it leaked out like maybe 3 months ago. So,
all right, we're going back on this, and I don't want to go down people shitting on movies again, but I have to say this. Another movie that I really enjoyed that a lot of people didn't like, I like Shang-Chi. I want to see more Shang-Chi, man. So I thought that movie was cool.
Actually, my favorite scene in Shang-Chi was the bus fight scene.
Yeah. But
it
I'll tell
was
you,
like one of the best fights. It reminded me so much of old school. And you're about the same age I am, Nem. So Shang-Chi reminded me of old school Saturday morning martial art movies.
see, I'm more of a DC fanboy, so I didn't know much about Shang-Chi before that. Once I started watching that movie, I started collecting the comic. That's how much I like the Shang-Chi movie. So
it
I
was
was
good.
like, damn, I'm gonna start collecting it. So, and I wasn't disappointed with the comic either. So, now Moon Knight is another one. I love Moon Knight. I've always have. But I like the Moon Knight series, and then I started collecting new stuff with Moon Knight, and I enjoyed it. So it just goes to show you, it's like I can find stuff I like, and I'll still read that. So there it is. And some of it's new stuff, like Shang-Chi was new to me. So
the only thing with Shang-Chi is I hope that title leak was correct because it sounds fucking amazing. But Shang-Chi and the Wreckage of Time is supposed to be the title for number 2.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard about that.
Now, Shang-Chi himself has already come out and said, yes, indeed, they're not canceling Shang-Chi. So I guess development for that film is on the way right now. They also have apparently already greenlit Moon Knight season 2, right? And we'll be following Jake Lockley, right, through the season 2, and apparently we may also be getting a Rama Tut variant in Moon Knight season 2. Now,
I've heard that rumor as well.
I'm just hoping. Now, this is my only bone to pick if we're going to talk continuity and comics, right, with the movie, right? My only gripe is with the 10 Rings right now. Now, I personally wish they would have went towards the more classic, traditional version of the rings because they could have definitely used the alien dragon race, in the actual film, for that to be like, okay, that's where the 10 Rings came from and nobody knows how to actually use them, right? So I was hoping that Kang would have a run-in with Shang-Chi and actually activate the 10 Rings, and we may fuck around and actually get a actual version of the classic 10 Rings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was my only gripe.
The coolest like on-screen representation I ever saw of the 10 Rings was animated. I don't know if you guys saw this show, but Iron Man Armored Adventures, where Tony was going to find the 10 Rings. That was cool as hell. I love that show.
Yeah, that was really good.
And if you guys want just the grandfather of motion comics, The 1960s Iron Man cartoon did it really well too.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever
It's-
seen that one.
Yeah, you didn't see any of the Grass Lawrence 1960s Marvel cartoons with the stupid theme songs?
No. The only 60s like Marvel cartoon I remember watching all the time was that old Spider-Man one. So
That too.
But did you watch Silver Surfer?
No, I hadn't
Yeah,
seen
dude.
that.
When you get a chance, and even if you want, you can use my Disney Plus if you'd like. But check it out, dude. Go on there
Is on
and
I've
just
got Disney Plus, it's on there. So
Yeah, the Silver
yeah,
Surfer.
you can watch the Silver Surfer show, the Fantastic Four show. If you didn't watch the X-Men original seasons, then
I
that'd be a
did watch
good
that,
chance to
yeah.
check that out too. But for sure, I would say Silver Surfer is pretty short, so that's like not a long watch. And Fantastic Four was a pretty short watch. But the ideas and characters that they introduced in those two shows, I just want to see some of those come live action. And if my memory doesn't mistake me, I believe that we're already getting a couple of those characters now. So one of them is Terrax, the Tamer,
Cool.
and I heard
Mhm.
he will be. So I guess they said in the beginning of the movie, right, Fantastic Four, we were gonna have this female version of the Silver Surfer, but this is gonna be a completely separate universe than the 616. So this isn't our universe as Silver Surfer, so everybody can chill the fuck out. We're still getting Norrin Rad, okay? But they said that at the beginning of the movie, she would be the main surfer for Galactus, and then I guess in the time jump somewhere, the next hero we would meet in the film would be Terrax the Tamer. Apparently, he was already casted and whatnot, but I'm excited to see that shit because I'm a fan of Terrax. He's a fucking dope ass character. So,
Cool.
another
Very
character
cool.
I wish they'd do is Morg. You know.
That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm looking forward to, once again, I'm looking forward to getting more X-Men than what you usually see. And I don't have anything against the standard lineup, but it's like I would love to see some of the later X-Men that I grew to love, like Armor and Pixie and Sand and shit. Like
All right, so
I just
that Joss Whedon era.
yeah.
Astonishing X-Men. X-Men.
Yeah, I loved all of that stuff, man. And like one of my favorite new X-Men characters from that era was Armor, man. I thought she was awesome, So I thought she was totally cool. And the power
I
set
always
she
liked the
used.
Alexa, the
Yeah.
dude that can kill everybody.
Yeah.
And
So
the Joss Whedon, John Cassidy, 25 issue run of Astonishing X-Men is. I put that up against Chris Claremont, John Byrne stuff.
yeah.
It's in the top 5 runs of X-Men of all time. It was also if Josh was hired for X-Men Last Stand, that would have been the source material for it.
Yeah. I just always liked that. It was one of the things I liked about what Fox was starting to do with their different shows is that you had Xavier School and you had all those different kids there. And I was hoping they would eventually like get into the team and do stuff like that, So that would have been awesome. So.
I got a feeling that, Kevin Feige, one of the biggest things that he said when he talked about X-Men is that at first, their first film was supposed to be called The Mutants, right? It wasn't even going to be called The X-Men Now they've changed it, right? So now it's officially an X-Men film. They've already begun the production on it and everything like that, right? So I was thinking, okay, if he said that this is going to be side of X-Men that we've never seen before. All right. Now, the only thing that can draw my mind to is 2 things. All right. One, because we're already knowingly headed towards Secret Wars, and the source material that we're using for the majority of that is Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars, right? I felt like this would be an opportune and great time to not only give us what we all want, which is really the '90s X-Men team. The one we just got from '97, live
Right.
action, right? And that's part of the reason why we got this Wolverine. But they're supposed to be recasting all the X-Men, right? So I was really thinking from this angle, maybe at the very beginning while they're introducing the different X-Men characters, because I will believe Wolverine is the beginning, the uno numero, right? Number one, first official classic costume, comic accurate character that we got from X-Men, right? Going
Mm-hmm.
forward, I felt like we were going to possibly get the rest of the team, like I would say a Cyclops, Storm, Rogue, those characters, right? And then by the time we get to Secret Wars, I think everything is going to get spent, right? And then we might get hit with some Krakoa shit. And that's
Mm.
why I feel like that might be the direction we may be headed in. Now, if we do, that's going to be fucking amazing, because as soon as we wrap up with Secret Wars, we're supposed to be heading into mutants, right? And bringing Krakoa around would be like the grade A way of either A, saying, hey, they've been here all this fucking time and they were basically cloaked in Krakoa, great. Or they cloaked in Genosha, great. However the fuck they want to spin it, but it's the perfect opportunity in time for them to use some of these modern X-Men characters. So you can give the older fans something they like, and the newer fans something they like, and everybody in between. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, like I guess I'm of two minds because I want some of the older characters, but they're older characters that we've never seen on screen, like Forge and Bishop and shit, I don't know. I'm blanking right now, but a lot of those characters, like we saw, like when we saw Bishop in X-Men, the original X-Men animated series, I think it was in X-Men '97 for a little bit. I was geeking out. Same thing with Forge. He's cool. I would love to see a good Gambit, in there. Gambit is awesome. So all that stuff. But yeah, I'm down, man. X-Men to me is more than just the team. It's like you got to bring in all these other movies. It's like, dude, just finally cast Dazzler. I don't care who you cast at this point. Bring Dazzler in, So it's like,
yeah.
and if it's Taylor Swift, I'm not going to complain because she looks like Dazzler. So
You know what? I actually think that Taylor Swift is definitely going to be Dazzler. They've been doing so many red herrings about it that I think it's definitely there. I actually, all the people that are going to shit on it, shut up, please. I'm going to give you two examples. Go watch Madonna and Who's That Girl. Her acting sucks in it, but it's
a funny movie. It's a funny movie.
Yeah. Go watch Lady Gaga in Sin City, which was one of her first acting roles before she went to American Horror Story. She's a decent actress. I'm not sure how I feel about her as Harley Quinn yet. But she's a competent actress, so let's give Taylor Swift a chance. And I definitely think they're bringing her in for an overall deal with Disney, because the mouse loves its money. Oh boy, money and power. Oh boy. And they want her for the soundtrack.
I think they're already ahead of you on this one, because if you remember the Marvels, right?
Yep.
Now, they did the Marvel's red carpet premiere here in Las Vegas, all right? And when Kevin Feige was interviewed, they were definitely trying to ask him about the whole Dazzler situation, right? And one thing that he kind of left with us is that musicians are seeming to take a role in the MCU. So our first one was Harry Styles, right? So when he said it, he said musicians, and it put the idea in my head that, okay, there's multiple singers or, whatever coming, because he said Harry Styles was the first. And with all the Easter eggs surrounding Taylor Swift, I think that there's a high chance of her, if not being in Deadpool and Wolverine, right? Definitely coming in later down the line as Dazzler.
You know, it'd be cool too is if they eventually did a version of the Hellfire Club. You know, either the old one or the new one too. So
Actually, Amazon, stop. I would love to see them do that version of the Hellfire Club that was all the young kids, which came in like around the time when they were on Utopia.
Yeah, I remember that. I'll say
that would be a great show for Disney Plus. Just these little bastard Hellfire children.
I'm such an X-Men geek, though. Then I love Negasonic, Teenage Warhead, and what was it, Kuriko from Deadpool 2. I thought they were hilarious. I love New Mutants. You know, I thought that was a really underrated movie.
It was.
You know, so I thought that was a good movie. I would not be upset if Anna Taylor, was that her name? Anna Taylor-Joy?
Yep.
Came back as Magic, you know, and so yeah, and then the rest of the cast was good too. So what's her name? I can't remember her name from Game of Thrones. In the movie was great. Just the movie was cool. So
unfortunately very underrated because of the time period of when it was produced.
Oh, plus Fox screwed it up. They sat on the movie forever. It's like,
oh, that's true. And then Disney bought them out, and he went in the vault like forever.
Yeah, Kevin Feige was mad about that too. He said that he really liked New Mutants, and he was just kind of pressed at the reception he got, but it was more or less over the releasing of it that kind of screwed it up. So I think that it's a good chance that they'll make their way back in some form or fashion. But if we're just being honest, I think, in my opinion, I think that we're gonna take some elements from the 1984 Secret Wars run and mix it with a whole lot of Jonathan Hickman run, right? So I think that would be the best way for them to give us the best of both worlds. So I think that we're gonna get all the 90s type X-Men, you know, from the 97 show. I think we're going to get all that before Secret Wars, as much of it as they're going to do. And then I think once Secret Wars caps off and we kind of have this rebooted MCU, I think it's going to be the perfect opportunity then for them to do the newer X-Men stuff and not lose people. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's cool. And you know what? To go to what we were talking about before, I had heard all this negative stuff about Loki season 2, and my son came over for Father's Day, and he's like, "Hey, you want to watch Loki season 2?" I watched it; it was good. I was like, "Oh, I hadn't heard good stuff about it." So we sat down and watched it. I thought Loki season 2 was great. I enjoyed the hell out of it, you know. So
it was,
yeah. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really good. So there it is. So you never know. But I enjoyed
Loki
it a
season
lot.
2 was incredible, dude. It was a really good show, and I think that people really actually took a liking to it later on, from what I understand. You know, like people weren't really giving it a chance, and then once it actually kicked off, and everybody's seen how excited, you know, the people that were watching it was, then it kind of caught on. You know what I mean? But that show was fucking great.
What was I watching? When did that show come out?
That was, I want to say, last year in June.
Yeah, around this time period.
I may have been watching, I don't know what I was watching. Like, I usually get into one show. I don't watch a lot of TV anyway, so I'll get into one show and like watch it, and I don't know what it is. Like right now is unusual because I'm watching a couple shows. Like I'm watching the new Game of Thrones, and I'm watching the new Boys. And
awesome! I have to watch today's episode.
Yeah, so
I
don't know if you guys are into Game of Thrones, like House of the Dragon. I love that show, and people were bitching about the new one. You know, like, oh, it's too political. It's all people like trying to stab each other in the back. I was like, have you ever watched Game of Thrones before? You know,
have you ever read the books?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'm not too hip to Game of Thrones, but I would love for somebody to put me down so I can get into it, you know, because as of right now, we haven't started any of it yet.
If you ever, you know, if you ever want to get on and like, you know, talk about it or whatever, and you want to get into the show, like if you don't want to start with the main show, the Game of Thrones, like you want to start this House of the Dragon, I'd be down to coming on and talking about it with you or watching it with you or whatever. I'm always down for that. So
Yeah, fucking late. You know what she said.
Yeah, Chris, you said you had when we were setting up that there was a spec book you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I'm paying close attention. Let's get on the subject of Venom 3. All right. So
Alright.
I'm paying close attention to Venom number 3, third print. All right. Um, at first the sales were down, right? Now it's pushed back up to about 450 for a 9.8, right? And the potential for that book, I feel like, can actually go up because I remember I bought two 9.8s not too long ago for about 300 a piece, and now it's about 150 with just a little bit of the teasing and anticipation from Sony that Null is coming. Now I knew Null was coming maybe 2.5, almost 3 years ago now, right? Um, I'm just hoping that they don't screw it up. All right. So in the trailer, remember we talked about it before, Adam, where
Yep.
I referenced that when Venom said, "My home has found us, Eddie." Right. As soon as you think of Venom's home, the first things that come to my mind is Planet of the Symbiotes or King in Black. Those are the two things that come to my mind the fastest.
I think
And
the movie
I
is
just,
going.
Are we talking about this book right here?
yes,
I know it's
sir.
real small, but okay.
The last sale was about 450 when I just checked a little while ago. But we were watching it because at first it was down for a second. Now it seems to be making its way back up. So hopefully, I would say between now and hell, if we do get some type of serious, either null revealed or some type of teaser, for Null in Venom 3, knowing that, he's coming, because that's what the word on the street is right now, is that Null is in it in some form or fashion in Venom 3. So
I,
I'm just
I
hoping
think
that
it.
they do it right.
So do I think worst case scenario, we'll get the Necro Sword, which made its first
Yep.
appearance in the Mighty Thor 6.
But remember, if it, we're talking about the multiverse, right?
Yep.
So for our universe, the Necro Sword is destroyed right now, right? But I feel like they already gave us Easter eggs in the MCU for Null, okay, already. And it kind of just went over people's head. So I think that Marvel and Sony need to kind of pull together on this one and really knock this shit out the park the same way they've been knocking these Tom Holland Spider-Mans out the park.
Man, you guys are talking way over my pay grade now. I'm not a collector like that, so but hey, I dig it.
Well, it's just a good investment, I just keep my eye on that book because I bought two of them already about 6 to 10 months ago, and I'm just keeping an eye on it because when that book pops, okay, you have the A cover right now. The A cover is selling cheaper than the third print. All right. The reason why the third print is a little bit more is because it does have that depiction of Null in the throne, fucking dope. The regular cover, if I'm not mistaken, is what Miles falling into like Venom's mouth,
Yep.
sideways. So it seems like that cover doesn't seem to be as appealing as that third print, and there are far less of the third print than there are that A cover out there. So I think that's just going to be one of the books, if Null does pop, if they do him right. So that's what I'm definitely keeping an eye on. And I've been watching 300 lately, ASM 300, because it seems like that book is starting to take off again. And as well as Secret Wars number 8 and Amazing Spider-Man 252. So
let me
all
put you
three
on
of
the
those books are
That's awesome.
symbiote
Those are
related.
all the blue chip Venom books. There are two Venom books or Eddie Brock books, I think, that people always forget about. One is Web of Spider-Man 18.
Love it.
Which is Eddie Brock who pushes is in the shadows and he pushes Peter off the subway. and Web of Spider-Man 24, where in the shadows, Eddie Brock cuts his web as he's swinging onto a building. And there's other
And
cool
hell,
things.
I'll even take Web of Spider-Man. I think it's 32 of him coming up out the grave, because that'll always be an iconic cover. That's another one to, if you can snag that for the low and put it up, that's another one I do.
I've got over here behind me, I've got a bunch of Web of Spider-Mans. I think I reconstituted my collection. So I have Web of Spider-Man 1 through 26, I think.
Such a good run.
Yeah, that's a good run to have.
Yeah. As a novice, I have a question for you. Like, because I buy things just because they look cool to me. Like, I don't know about all the trading and everything, but I'm enjoying reading this. But I think the covers have been amazingly cool, but I don't know what it's like for a collector right now. The new Space Ghost series. So I think the covers have been fire. So, but I don't know, like, if people are into that.
Oh,
Certain
no,
covers
dude,
have been done better than
people are
others.
definitely.
Yeah. Because I've been enjoying reading that book, and then I just think the artwork on the covers has been really cool. Like, I've been collecting the different covers that have been available for it. So
Yeah, right now, to me, there's a catch-22 on some of the Space Ghost stuff. Now, the only covers that are really in question at this point are the Matinas. Okay, so I don't know if you heard what's going on with Matina.
Mr.
But,
AI, Mr.
Oh, are you serious?
He
He's
just
a
got
fucking
exposed
tracer.
for using AI and
He's a tracer.
shit like that. Yeah. So I'll give you an example. Like, what issue are we on Space Ghost? Think like 3 or
Yeah.
I think
two or
we just recently got 2 and we're waiting for 3 now, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Yeah, so I've grabbed all the Matina covers, all the versions, the foils, all that shit. But I also were grabbing some of the Bajor Barons. I've been grabbing all his versions and foils and shit like that. Now, Space Ghost has his niche audience as always, right? But as for spec wise, future wise, I think that, if you get some good copies, that could be a potential, $200-300 9.8 down the line. You know what I mean?
Cool.
Because it's under Dynamite, so it's just so many covers. You know what I mean? And whenever you have a book that has so many covers and all those variations of covers, right? Then the water gets a little shallow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot different than a book releasing, and to the number one, it's like maybe 2 covers and a 1 in 25, right? Now that's a little bit more of an investment than anything Dynamite, really, except certain incentives. And when I say certain incentives, I mean, like, I'll give you an example, like Justice Ducks, right? Instead of grabbing the regular covers, I'll grab the virgins, because every time if I miss one, those have been one of the hardest things to come back across later on. You know what I mean? So I've doubled up on those. I've doubled up on the action figure variants, because you always have people niche collecting action figure variants and things like that. So, it just depends. But whenever you see a book with a shit ton of covers, chances are, investment wise, it's not as good of investment,
That's
I always tell people and like, especially with Dynamite books, because they're the variant kings.
Yeah, I love Vampirella.
Buy the covers you like.
Yeah.
And I usually always go for like the medals. I normally go for like the action figures. Because it's me, and one of my professional goals is to get one of my girls on one of these fucking things. The cosplay variants,
like the Red Sonja and Vampirella.
like the Red Sonjas
and
the Vampies. I wish I'm actually trying to see what I can do to, do my own exclusive for Space Ghost, because I'd like to do a cosplay for Jan.
I don't even know. Like, I was gonna say, I collected Vampirella for years, And I think it's impossible to get all the covers because there's like 16 covers per issue or something like that. So it's some crazy
Somewhere
amount
between
of
10,
stuff.
10 minimum. Like, so I've seen certain Vampirella books that have like 20 plus
Yeah.
variants, and I'm like, not every book needs this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only catch about the Vampirellas is the only ones that I feel like will stand through the test of times are the medals and those $50 versions because they're so under order. You know, everybody doesn't spend $50 just to get a version cover, and then you got to actually order it. You know, it's not like a incentive that every store is going to keep in stock. So if you're going to do those, my biggest thing would be medals and those $50 versions because those are the ones that become so far few and in between that if you hold on to those, that would be potentially some money later on. You know what I mean? So those are just the ones that I focus on, and I kind of take that approach when it comes to all Dynamite. You know, I won't really. I'll get covers that I like, but if I'm investing on it, then I always grab like the $50 versions that you have to actually order. You know what I mean? Because by the
Yeah,
time the
I'm,
book
I'm
comes out,
making an
there's going to be
exception to that
just
kind
a
of a
few.
rule for one series with Dynamite right now. I think
Is-
Powerpuff Girls is going to do extremely well regardless.
Is
Just 'cause
collecting
I
by
underestimate the Powerpuff Girl fan base.
is collecting by issue numbers, like big issue numbers, still a thing? Like Vampirella 666 came out recently, you know, number 666, or you know, like when Batman 1000 came out, or I don't know, I think there was an Aquaman one that came out a few years ago. Like getting those big numbers, or is that just kind of a, you know, not that big a deal? So
I think it's still a big deal on certain
Yeah, so do I.
issues. You know, like you mentioned, Batman 1000, right? That's a
yeah,
collector issue edition for life because it's number 1000, just like it would be number 1 or number 100 or number 500. Then we got to 1000, right? So that's always going to be something, right?
yeah,
As far as Vampirella 666, that was another landmark issue where I grabbed all the variants, preferably the Felipe Massaferas on those. And they're good things to grab, but um, you know, I always tell people, dude, my biggest thing, Adam will tell you too, dude, my biggest thing is get what you like, fuck what everybody else is talking about because you never know. You might be onto something that everybody else didn't catch on to, right, when it was coming out, and you might luck up and cash out on something big sometimes. So
cool,
I've just come to realize, right, I more or less pay attention to the things that other people aren't. You know what I mean? And if I'm gonna collect, I collect in a certain fashion. So I usually just do all incentives. You know what I mean? And I know there's others out there, of course, but 10 years in the future, when we go back and look at this shit, I'm gonna be like, okay, well, there's 50,000 A covers, right? But hey, look, there's only 25,000 150s. You get what I'm saying? It just cuts those numbers in half and then in half again because you're not going to have a whole flourish of 1 in 100s out here, are you? Unless, people are ordering to get a 1 in 500 or 1 in 1,000. So
yeah,
that's just kind of how I do things. I shop for incentives mostly. And then
cool.
I'll go for key issues. But at the end of the day, get what you like.
I always tell people, and I'm reading this book by Sarah Knight called The Magical Power of Not Giving a Fuck. I highly recommend it. It's the best self-help book I've ever read. And that or Pimp by Iceberg Slim. They don't call me the comic pimp for nothing. But I say buy what you like, buy what you enjoy, and keep this fun. Lately I've seen so many people in the investing sphere who just buy 100 copies of almost everything, and then they wonder why they're constantly, you know, chasing money like a cheap whore. I just see a lot of things in the industry that remind me like a cheap whore that are going to spread the legs for everything lately. It's like, ooh, this is a key collector, man. Gotta grab it.
Well, I mean, another pretty cheap thing to collect, that doesn't really cost a whole lot of money, but later on it could potentially is the ash cans. Because usually ash cans, when they're sent out, only one store gets it. One per store, literally. I've never seen a shop get multiple ash cans. You know what I mean? I'll give you a perfect example. I just picked up the Powerpuff Girls ash can. You know what I mean? Now it's not a very expensive book or anything like that, but later on, when people turn back to look at these things as like, we usually do when it comes to comics, those are some issues that are few far and in between type shit. So that's another like little niche thing that I do. I buy a lot of ash cans if I can, especially like on Dynamite books. That's always a good thing to me. So
one of the things that always got me, because like I said, I'm not a big collector. Like usually I'm just buying what I want to read, and then I kind of keep stuff and display what I want to display or whatever. But the old comic store I used to go to, and they're not around anymore, but I used to order stuff. Like they had a website where you would order what you want and you pick out the variants that were going to be available there and you'd order it. And then like for months in a row, I would go in and I would order a cool variant that I just wanted because I thought the cover was cool. And then somebody would come in ahead of me and offer to pay them extra money for that cover that was in my pull list. And they take it out and then wouldn't give me the comic that I ordered. They'd give me some other cover, and I was like, damn, man. It's like, I understand, you got offered more money, but still, it's like, that's just, I don't know. It never sat well with me. So as a customer,
One of the rules of pimping: a deal is a deal. You honor the deal.
Yeah.
Once again, rule number one: you act like a bitch, you get slapped like a bitch. Testify.
So.
Hey, and speaking to that, dude, that's one of my biggest fucking pet peeve when it comes to shops is you'll order a book and then now it's shot up. I'll give you a perfect example of some shit I watched. Spider-Man #7, first appearance of Spider-Boy. Now, I ultimately ended up with nearly 60 of them, okay? But I had to put in work to do that shit ahead of time. You know what I mean? That's why I ended up getting as many as I have. So a first print, I got like 22, right? But the whole thing about it is this: I watch stores have that shit right behind the register. But as soon as Comic Time made that $56 sale on that book, dude, it didn't matter whether you ordered it or not. You probably didn't get the shit. And then that's when favoritism comes into play, where shops show favoritism to certain people. And well, this guy, he doesn't buy a lot from me, so fuck him. I'm not giving it to him. That's just kind of like how shops get down nowadays, and it's a shitty thing. So what I did is I just resorted to online ordering. You know what I mean? When I shop at places like Midtown, they still hold their orders. If you buy a book at $4.99 and it goes up to $40, they're still gonna fucking give it to you.
And that's the way it should be, because you bought it from them for $4.99. You can't change the deal after it's made. So yeah.
Yeah, I actually got 10 of those Spider Boys from Midtown, but I ordered it ahead of time. So
I can't remember
what. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say this is like 7 or 8 years ago. I can't remember what comic it was, but I ordered this one specific variant cover, and I guess it blew up. Like people, once it came out, a lot of people were ordering it and they wanted it. And I show up to pick up my book, and I get the standard vanilla cover, the main cover, and I'm looking at the book I ordered, and it's up on the wall in a 9.8, rated with the plastic over it, and it's labeled like $150. I'm like, that's my book right there. What are you doing? So
yeah, it's one of the shittier things in comics. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like something I had to. I got back into comics maybe about 6 years ago now, and I've read them my entire life. You know, I got a whole fucking bookcase of just straight trades because you know, when I was growing up, I was more of the I wasn't collecting single issues like that in the 90s, so my dad would just buy me an X-Men book here and there, but my whole thing would be buying the trade paperback so I can read the stories, because I've always been far more interested in the guts than what's on the top. Now, in my recent comings, I've now transferred over where I'm into everything, you know what I mean? Cover wise, artist wise, writer, you know, I'm into all that shit now. So now I just had to kind of learn my way around the ropes to the point where anything I fucking want, I got it now, you know, because I just had to learn around it. I worked out of a shop for the last 5 years up until recent times. So that taught me a lot, and it taught me how to buy better, I would say. You know what I mean? So that's just one of the give or takes with the fucking comics, bro. And trust me, I hate that shit, dude. But you know what I do like? And I know
What's
you
that?
guys love it too. Titties, bro. And since I haven't heard it in about fucking 30 minutes, dude, Adam, you're not doing your fucking job, bro.
But you know what? Because every now and then I have to remind people that I'm the comic book and porn guy.
Encima de ese fellow. I hate to kill him.
Oh, wait. Wrong one. Hold on. Oh, man. Why am I missing it? Oh, never mind. I just messed up.
Is there a clip that you were supposed to play? Because I don't think that's the clip you were working for. But
yeah, I was
here,
looking.
hold on. I'm gonna show you one thing before I get out of here, Adam. Give me 1 second.
All right.
Did you see that shit, man? Bitches love me.
All right, everyone. We are going to wrap up. I want to thank Sir Christopher the Greatest for coming on tonight.
Chris said he's going to come back. He had to go offline for a second, but
all right. Well, we will.
All right. So remember what I was telling you earlier, right? So let's see if I can get it in the shot. But yeah,
that's it. Yeah, Powerpuff Girls. Yeah.
That ash can, though. You know what I mean? Now, let's say there's 1,400 shops in the country, right?
Yep.
There's only 1,400 of these. You get what I'm saying? Now you understand the aspect of ash can that I was trying to tell him earlier, where, hey, I spent $15 on this, right? But if I hold it, you know, probably get it graded, and this is for the new one too. I'm pretty sure you got one, didn't you, Adam?
I got 2 of them.
Yeah. See, so this though, I feel like it's not something that people, for one, even know about, because a lot of people don't even know about ash cans to begin with, right? And then number 2, like I said, they're usually only one per shop, and most people don't even think to ask for them. So one thing that I do, like when I check out new shops, I'll go in and I'll just say, hey, dude, what kind of ash cans you got back there? I know you got some. And then usually the 2 shops that I work with, right, they usually whip them out like, yeah, so we got this one in, and this one in, because you usually get a new one for each Dynamite title. You know what I mean? So that's one thing to collect. And then my baby of the fucking last week.
That's cool. Scarlet Witch.
Yeah. So this is a Frizzen 1 in 100, and the chances of there being 90,000 of them out there, very slim to none. But you get what I'm trying to say. You get the idea of where I'm going with this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's just like my line of collecting. So those are the first 2 things on the top of my list every week. Like next week, Adam, did you grab your Thanos 1 in 100?
Yes, I did.
See what I mean? Because that's that Rose Besh. So your seasoned collectors, those are the type of things we pick up because we know, like later down the line, it'll be really hard to get a hold of it, or you're just going to be paying an arm and leg to get it.
See,
and then you got to worry about conditioning too. So
yeah, basically what I do is I take some of these higher ratio books, and when Josh Brolin is doing a signing, those are the type of books I get signed by when I can't do photo covers. Stuff like that is what I'm getting signed.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I think I'll definitely get that Frizen signed by Elizabeth Olsen somewhere down the road.
Yeah, I mean, it would be great to have it signed by Frizen and Olsen.
Yeah, Amazon stop. But Chris, I want to thank you for coming on tonight, bro.
Definitely, bro. I definitely enjoyed talking to you guys tonight. If you guys want me back around, just give me a holler, dude. I'd love to do this again.
My pleasure, man. I will see you tomorrow night on Drunken Chat.
Indeed. And it was a pleasure to meet you too, Nim, bro. Go ahead. If you're on Instagram, go ahead and give me a follow, bro. And we could chop it up in the inbox anytime. And whatever
definitely.
questions you have, dude, just let me know. We can shoot the shits, all right? So
absolutely.
It was a pleasure.
Yep, everyone, please go support Phoenix Bro number 1.
All right, my boys. I'll check you guys out later, all right?
Yep.
See you later, Chris.
All right, later, fellas.
Yeah.
Yep. Let's see. Let me throw this up here. Phoenix Throw number 1. Yeah, you can check this out. fundmycomic.com/Phoenix-Throw1. Or we have a Kickstarter coming soon. So if you are more prone to back things on Kickstarter, plus we have some cool tiers that we're going to be unveiling. Maybe Adam will give me a segment in a future show. We could talk more about
Actually,
that.
I think we'll wind up doing that next week.
Okay. Cool.
Assuming that we're not switching man in the chairs yet. However, you always have an invitation to be a part of Boston Sauce Radio, so we'll definitely do a segment on all the tiers. It's just one I'm going to be backing once it's live.
Definitely.
I'm going to be naming a female character Tits McGee.
In fact, it's funny you were talking about ash cans. We're going to be doing an ash can too. So,
Nice.
we're going to be doing actually 2 separate ash cans, but we will get into that next week. So
Beautiful. And everyone, just follow me at The Real Blind Adam on Instagram, X at The Comic Pimp, Minivids, Blind Adam, OnlyFans, Blind Adam, eBay, Blind Adam, Whatnot, Comic Pimp VIP. I have some new stuff coming out soon. Remember, you don't just have to have a vision. I love you all. Blind Adam out.
bye, everybody. Bye. And let me find the outro music and we'll get out of here.
Yep.
So, because I'm unprepared.
All right.
Oh, come on. Phil. All right, here we go. We're out of here. Say goodbye, Adam.
Bye-bye. Toodaloo.